Since 2016, I have developed the habit of asking a horary to determine the overall flavor of the new American presidency. There are two charts on my website for 2016 and one for 2020, which you can see and compare to the outcome. This chart is for the new presidency, which is Donald Trump's second term, and I asked the question to describe what it's going to be like, what kind of events or flavor to expect. As usual, horary gives us the most important factors. It doesn't give all the factors. So I'm going to share with you the things that I see, and we will wait and see. The new president, Donald Trump, is the ruler of House 10, so he's signified by Mercury. Mercury is right on the ascendant. The ascendant represents our country. The first notable thing about Mercury on the ascendant is that it describes very well his posture as a president. He wants to save America. And if you want to save something or somebody, the most appropriate place is to be in that person or thing sign. It shows that you have an interest or a love for that thing you are well disposed toward. Here we see somebody who is well disposed towards this country. The only problem here is that Mercury is in its own detriment. Following basic principles of astrology, a planet in its own detriment does not know how to do whatever it sets out to do. So we have a planet that's in the right place to act. He's right on the ascendant. He's well disposed towards the country. However, he is not equipped to do whatever he wants to do in power. So is he going to make America great again? No. That's the first part of the answer. So anybody who has high hopes about him saving this country from the downhill spiral it is in might as well think of Plan B. Regardless of whether it's a blue or a red corrupt politician in power, Jupiter is in detriment and retrograde, and it's going to be like that for quite a while. Does that look like a country that's going to be great again? Let's see what else the chart shows, what's coming his way. To do that, which is a kind of prognosis, we look at what's going to happen to Mercury next. There is a very clear next aspect. That is, Mercury is going to square Saturn. Let's begin by determining if this is a good or bad aspect for him. First, it's a square. He may offer delays, he may offer obstacles, but it doesn't mean it's bad. You can do things by square without any problems. However, the problem with this square here is that Saturn in Pisces is in the detriment and fall of Mercury. From all the possible antagonistic aspects that Mercury can make in an astrological chart, this is probably the worst. Saturn in a double negative reception with Mercury. We can be sure that whatever is coming his way is not favorable to him at all. So whatever he's going to invest his time and power into is going to meet a significant barrier. How this barrier is going to come up, that's going to be interesting to see. But something is coming against him pretty powerfully. Let's take a look at some other factors in this chart that will influence our interpretation. The first obvious thing that's important is that the Sun is separating from a trine with Saturn. And in fact, it's still in a very close aspect of about 2 degrees. So in basic horary principles, it means that whenever Mercury meets Saturn, it's going to meet the influence of the Sun with it, whatever the Sun means. It is a collection of light. Let's try to see what the Sun could mean. The Sun rules House 9. Okay, so this could be an influence from a foreign country. Another option for this house is the 12th from the 10th, which we have to consider. This is a mundane chart. He has hidden enemies. There is a term that many of you are probably familiar with, which is the deep state. And this chart gives a very clear picture that the deep state do not want Trump in power. Why? Well, the reason is in the context. if you research and study what's going on in the geopolitical arena, you will see that some people in power are not very happy with him. Curiously, Trump himself is to blame for that. He has stated publicly that he wants to eliminate the deep state. How do you think the deep state will react to that? Mercury Sagittarius couldn't be a more eloquent symbol to describe somebody who would openly say such a thing. A lot of fire and an utter lack of control of one's tongue, perhaps brain as well. Now, are they going to do something against him? Well, it's very likely. They already tried to take him out twice, right? So I'm not speculating too far from the possibilities here. But what does the chart say about that? Well, the hidden enemy of Donald Trump is right inside the 12th cusp. The 12th house in a mundane chart is the house of the deep state. They are the hidden enemies of this country. Actually, they are the hidden enemies of every creature on this planet except themselves. So, for those who do not know, the deep state is signified by house 12 in a mundane horary or in a mundane chart of any kind. So we see that this hidden enemy of Donald Trump is located right inside the cusp of the deep state. And that hidden enemy has a direct influence on whatever Saturn means in Donald Trump's life. So here we have a picture that the hidden enemy, since it's separating from a trine with Saturn, has already set into motion what Saturn is going to be doing to Donald Trump. So we have a picture of a hidden enemy in connection with the deep state coming after Donald Trump. Another factor that supports this is that Mars, who rules the 12th house, so Mars here is the significator of the deep state, has just entered into a positive mutual reception with the Sun. So this is a recent development. And if we overlay this over the context, we see what happened recently that made these two guys become friendly with one another against Trump via Saturn. Well, Trump was elected, and that was the trigger for Mars to enter into a cooperation with the Sun. So we agree that Saturn is not a good thing for Mercury. Given the context that they already tried to kill the guy twice and missed by very little, here's what I think Saturn means. This house is the turned 6th house from the 10th. So it's Donald Trump's illness or accidents. Okay, so we have a hidden enemy, the deep state, and an illness or accident. Look at Fortuna, pointing at this sign in this house. Saturn is on this cusp by Antares. This is the second house from the 10th, house 11. So it's the house of the Senate and the House of Representatives and other entities that support the executive branch. So what could Saturn be doing there? Well, it could be related to an effort to impeach him, for example. Or it could be something more sinister. This is pure speculation, of course. There's another testimony that tells me that this house is very important in the outcome. We already know what the Sun is up to. Look at the Sun's antecedent. It's right inside the 3rd cusp. Another thing is that the Moon is going to conjoin Mercury by antecedent, because here is Mercury by antecedent. What is the Moon? The radical 8 ruler. I don't need to tell you what that means, right? Finally, less than 3 degrees from the ascendant, we have the star Antares, which is a star connected with endings and loss. Even though this is a presidency that's just starting, we're going to lose something, or something is gonna end. So what does this chart tell me for sure? What's coming to him is not favorable to him. Maybe he's going to be removed from power. Actually, I have another chart for the question, is he going to serve his full term? And we have Antares on the 10th cusp. There are other testimonies which are very important, and to me that means that he's not going to serve his full term. How is that going to happen? The most congruent picture that I have is that they're going to take him out of power. And this time there will be no people with a rifle lying on top of a building. It's going to be much more disguised and effective. But we'll have to wait and see. For those interested in mundane horary astrology, check out the other videos on this channel and the links to my website in the description below. Thank you for stopping by. See you next time.